Sorry, brain was a little bit of a alphabet soup there for a sec. What's up, my fellow neurodivergents? It's Andrew here, aka Lou Ford. Back for another episode of the Hamster Wheel Radio. This is the podcast where the hamster, the wheel's turning, but the hamster just might be dead. Just might be dead. Now, as we know, as I've explained before, this is about, ADHD, neurodivergency, and all that. And on this episode, as I promised, I'm going to be talking about some things that we can use in order to help to deal with frustration intolerance and dysregulation.
I personally think is the best therapy for you.
Both are two things that, because of how our brain functions and because of the fact that prefrontal cortex and the amygdala do not operate the same way as neurotypical brains do, we feel things much more deeply.
Ow, my pride.
And in terms of our level of patience, it's not there. Small things set us off.
Meg, sweep that up. Just get a broom. Sweep that up. Sweep that up. Put it in your room, but sweep it up first.
And it's also not. We don't have the same breaks, you could say, in terms of impulsivity and how we react to things as neurotypical people do.
It came to me, a Ferrari engine for a brain. You've got a race car for a brain. Your brain goes lickety-split, mile a minute. Runaway brain. The problem is you have bicycle brakes. Your braking system is not...
As I think a doctor once stated, it's basically kind of like the ADHD brain is basically one that is like a Ferrari engine with like tricycle brakes. So what that means is that we have to, learn. A great word. Some of this is, learn how to do it. And some of these practices can be very helpful with that. Now, it's important to note that many people, this is going to take some time. It can be fucking boring, but they are useful. So with that, I will start off with one of the ones that is probably the most difficult for me, and that is breathing exercises.
I take yoga. I have a sick body. I do feel a bit better.
Breathing exercises are awesome. They're great. It's very helpful way to kind of be able to pause.
The long pause.
And put a little stopgap in between, your frustration, or if it's more like dysregulation or something like that, being able to find the ability to be able to put that stopgap there. And so that way you can take the time to actually, I guess, really, if you want to call it this kind of like really think about it, so it can help you actually make a decision. It gives you that time to be able to observe it.
The towel. Oh! They spotted me.
And like many ADHDers are good at doing, even kind of overthink it for a moment or two.
Hand me my thinking grenades.
Where'd you get these?
Shh, got it. I'm thinking. Oh my God, he's dead!
So that we can really kind of figure out if this reaction, this first thing that's kind of come to mind, is really the thing you want to do, which can be very helpful. There's some of the practices that you can do is kind of like square breathing, and square breathing is it's basically inhaling for the count of 4, holding it for the count of 4, and then exhaling for the count of 4.
Square breath or 4-4-4-4 breath, okay? All of this is going to be breathing in and out through your nose for a count of 4. We're going to hold for 4 at the top and also hold for 4 at the bottom. And it goes like this. Inhale through your nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale out your nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. And now hold your air out at the bottom for 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's one round of box breathing. In for 4, hold at the top for 4, exhale out for 4, hold at the bottom for 4.
It's, for me at least, the breathing exercises, it's both one of things that holds my attention the most, but also at the same time can be incredibly overwhelming sometimes, especially if I'm, in a really bad shape or really bad frame of mind.
So I just want to bring you through a really simple Irish breathing exercise. So we're going to breathe in on, oh, Jesus Christ, and we're going to breathe out on, oh, for fuck's sake. So try that again, in on, oh, Jesus Christ, and out on, oh, for fuck's sake.
But again, it's something that offers that stopgap. There's, it can be something just as simple as as just taking several deep breaths, just exhaling it, doing that. You don't have to have it for a count, just making sure that it's deep, that you're, taking in as much air as you can. If you want, you can hold it for a sec, or you can just, breathe it right out. But either way, the idea is that taking that period, there's a biological thing to it in terms of being able to get that time. And what that biological aspect is that if you have the time basically to exhale fully and inhale deeply, and you have the time to do that, then your brain takes that and reads it as you're safe, as in it's okay to rest, to calm down. Because the idea is that us, because we are animals, the idea is that our brain is still more or less programmed for us to survive. So if we are anxious, or if our breath is, tight and short, like we're exercising, then the body reads that as it's either fight or flight. There's a reason why we're breathing that way. There's a reason why our body is acting that way, and it's fight or flight. So by taking the time out to actually breathe and actually be able to push out all the air, and then slowly and gently bring all this air back in, and then do it again, and do that several times, then our mind, our brain takes that as being that we are safe, and it automatically helps to calm us down. So we're not as anxious as we would be. And as difficult as it is, because it takes a lot of self-awareness. Another word I love. I know a lot of ADHD people love that too, self-awareness, but it takes a lot of awareness to, one, know that you need to do it, and two, to have it in your arsenal of practices, something that you fine-tuned well enough to have it be more like a muscle memory thing that you do, so then that way it's not as difficult. I am times, as much as I practice it, it's not there all the time for me in terms of my muscle memory. There are times I'm just like, fuck! And, it happens. There's also points where I will say, even in the idea of regulating, sometimes you may somewhat controlled. You may need a little bit of an outburst, like a little fuck or a little something like that as well, to kind of have that little release before you maybe step into that breath work. That's something that has been I found to be very helpful. You can also do, this is more like a yoga technique, and let me just say this, as much as some people out there will say that it's kind of corny or it's yuppie-ish or whatever, yoga has done wonders, I think, for me. Something that I practice regularly, and it's something that, in terms of being much more self-aware, in terms of dealing with my own shit, the practice, the idea of holding the postures, the idea of the breathing that's involved, has done wonders to help me to stop, to help me to kind of get a different perspective. But if you have any feedback or comments, please let me know. And as always, till next time, this is Lou Ford, or Andrew, I should say, aka Lou Ford, and it's Hamster Wheel Radio, where wheels turning with the hamster just might be dead. Just maybe. Possibly.